Woo!
Yeah. Yep. So, Paul, can anyone stop the Thunder this postseason?
Can anyone stop the Thunder this postseason? When I look and see who's left, the Wolves, they're cooked, pretty much. You know, this series is over. They're going back to Oklahoma City. They're going to close the deal. Indiana, the Knicks, if one of them were to get to the finals, I think Indiana will probably have a better chance because of their depth, their coaching, the style of play. You know, they play fast. They play selfless basketball. But could either one of those teams beat them? I don't think so. I'm looking at a team that won 68 games this year, that has the MVP, and they have a young core that looked so dominant last night. I couldn't believe the ages on them when they said it. And their MVP is the elder statesman on the team at 26. When you look at their core, if they win the championship this year, they're lined up to be great for a long, long time. They haven't lost 3 in a row games all year long. So the series is 3-1, Joy, Key, and Rick. That means Minnesota got to win 3 in a row to win the series? Not happening. Lost 2 in a row only twice this season. Have never lost 4 games in a 7-game stretch all year. Well, they play 7 games in the series, and they haven't lost 4. You can pretty much wrap up the title, the trophy, and hand it to the OK, the 2025 NBA champs, the OKC Thunder. I'm telling y'all right now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP. Because right now, he's looking like the best player in the league, and his complementary pieces are growing each and every game, each and every series. I saw them grow. Chet, Jalen, Williams, and then the other complementary pieces, they look unstoppable. Just hand them the trophy now. Go ahead, take it, guys. Well, let's get ready for next year.
Do they really? But do they really look unstoppable?
So you weren't convinced with last night's game?
They barely won. No, seriously, though. In all honesty, let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah, we like Shai. We like he's gotten the MVP, and they're the young, hot team that's running up and down the court in checks, dunking on people, and they're doing all the things that look ooh-wee. But they barely won. It wasn't like they won by 20. Okay, a win is a win is a win. I get that. But I understand what you're saying, Paul. It's over. It's going to be hard to – look, it's Minnesota done. They cooked.
That wasn't good math that Paul just read for anyone else that's playing them.
Yeah,
That's not good math for nobody else.
Not good math.
But they're going to see one of those 2 teams out of the East. And one of those teams two teams out of the East, although Indy has a better depth roster to compete with them, but I'm not going to count out the Knicks yet either because it ain't over with yet. And then whichever one of those 2 teams they play, we can't just all of a sudden hand them the trophy based on what they've done against Minnesota.
Paul just did.
It's in the mail. It's in the mail. It's in the UPS. It's in the FedEx. They got 2 different pieces.
But again,
the yellow rope, everything.
Was it not a 2-point win and not a 22-point win? So let's not act like they just ran away with the game. They beat up on a Minnesota team that their superstar player has struggled this series in particular at times, other than the one game where he went nuts. So it's kind of like I'm not ready to just say that they're the NBA champions and give Shai the MVP trophy. I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to do what Paul just did. Not yet.
So your concern is whoever comes out of the East, because you don't think the Timberwolves.
No, it's over. Minnesota, they gone. They just over. Ain't nothing they can't. How you gonna win 3 in a row? How you gonna do that? Yeah, it's just not gonna happen.
Agreed.
I think they know that too. And this game 5 is in OKC. So they ready to go to the championship since the last time they gone with KD and company.
I'm not ready to give it to them either, but they're prohibitive favorite. There's no doubt. And there's only one team out of the East that I see as being capable of giving them a run for their money, a puncher's chance, if you will, and that's the Indiana Pacers. Because, as Paul noted, they can match them in depth. They've got the coaching. They can match them in three-point shooting. Their intensity, their chemistry. There's a lot of similarities, as I see it, between those 2 teams. My hesitation is in seeing what Karl Anthony Towns has done to Miles Turner. And if Karl Anthony Towns can do that to Miles Turner, then Chet Holmgren, who has more in his bag than Karl Anthony Towns does.
Whoa. No. I'm not going to let you do that, Rick.
That Chet?
Chet Hamgram has more in his bag.
Chet has more in his bag. Chet putting the ball on the floor.
I was going to say, you could put the ball on the floor, Athletic could get there. I saw that last night.
No question. If Cat is going past Miles Turner, Chet Holmgren will be going past him twice as fast. That's not even debatable.
I just saw a dude go 20 in the fourth. I mean, I ain't seen Chet do nothing like that. I mean, Chet is a good player.
Shooting three, but you can't count on that. Cat will have that every once in a while.
Yeah.
And he hits some logo threes like.
But Chet's
got. Are we questioning whether Chet has more all-around game than Cat? Because I'm not. Even as young as he is.
No, he doesn't have more all-around game than Cat. Because if you want to go back to the last series with New York, when Cat willed them, when he hit the fadeaway, the three down the stretch versus the Celtics.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Cat has that capability.
And then when I saw in Game 3 him 20 in the fourth, contested threes, down the middle dunk and ones. I mean, it looked crazy at times, but it looks unorthodox, but it gets the job done. And then at the end of the day, when he up there, he got 25 and 15. He's taken over multiple games in this playoffs. Like, Chet is great complimentary.
And Chet has played a complimentary role.
Yeah.
I have very little doubt that if he had to step into that role.
What is he, 3 behind Jalen Williams?
Yeah,
he would be 3.
He's the number 3.
He's the third option. Yeah. Where Cat is the second option, and at times.
But let's say that's fine. The fact is that as the third option going up against Miles Turner, he's going to be on an island. He's going to have advantages. Like, I don't like, however you want to size up what the role is, I don't like that matchup, and I think it favors OKC in a big way.
Yeah, and I think something about Cat, Joy, is he can go on the milk carton in a heartbeat on you, though, too, where he comes up missing. Even though he can have those fourth quarter stretch runs and make you think, ooh-wee, but sometimes you start looking for him, you know, and Chat's not in that position because of Jalen Williams and because of SGA, where you don't need to depend on him nearly as much.
Yeah. I feel a little uncomfortable. I think Cat's a little further along than Chet. Chet's doing a great job.
He's proven. Cat is proven more. I'm just looking at what Chet has shown me.
He's doing a great job. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, I like what he was showing me last night.
He's doing a great job. I'm gonna put Cat a little further ahead of him at the moment. Yes. Okay. Almost making it impossible for me to do my job today.
No, you gotta Joy.
Like what, Key?
You gotta power.
I think the matchup between the Thunder and whoever comes out of the East.
We just saw him.
Series. They seem to be the team of destiny right now. I'm literally reading off of my notes at this point. There's a lot of basketball left to play. I think that the Pacers-Thunder matchup will be very interesting. A lot of show left, too.
You all right, Joy?
I think Pacers,
good luck.
The Pacers and Thunder will be a great matchup. I don't know that the Knicks and the Thunder would be a great matchup, but I also don't.
I don't know why I want to see the Knicks in championship, though. I think I just care about the look of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's probably what it is.
I think we're also less convinced that the Knicks are going to make it past the Pacers at this point. I mean, they're still quite in the middle of their series, but
if they go 2-2, they got to go back to the Garden.
No. 100%.
That's fair.
I just think that the Pacers is a better matchup for them.
No, I understand. I just don't want to see OKC.
Look like the team of destiny right now. They look like they are the best team.
Again, as I said to you a week ago, do you really want to sit in front of your TV and watch OKC and Indy?
I do.
Okay.
That's actually going to be some good basketball, though.
It will be some
high-level basketball. Like,
I do, and I mean, and if that happens, look, the Knicks and Timberwolves had the opportunities.
That's true. Yeah. No, that's true. Everything's true.
Like, there's no excuses for why that would have gone down the way it did at this point.
The other thing, though, is we just never know with a young team that's never been to the finals before.
But they look like they've been in the finals.
They do. But you know who else? You know who looked like
finals, though. That's the thing.
You know who looked like
it? OKC looks like it.
You know who looked like it last year? The Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks looked like they were primed. And you think about Luka Doncic's experience playing overseas and, like, never shrinking from the moment and all of that. And then you saw in the finals where it turned. And that's my only reservation. To your point, I agree. OKC team, it looks like they got it all and they got the right mindset and they got everything. But I've just seen it where you get, for whatever reason, and Paul could speak to this, like there's something about the atmosphere of the finals and realizing you are on the doorstep of getting the thing that you've always dreamed of getting that causes guys to suddenly be seized by the moment or not play with the same ease and liberty that they had previously.
Yeah, but when you look at the 4 teams that's left, even though OKC is young, it's just something about, I'm watching a leader in the press conference. See, I take a look at all these little things. I'm watching Shea and like his maturity.
Yep.
Is beyond his years. He talks like he's been in the league like 15 years. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They're very poised.
And it's not just for the cameras, because he's doing it on the bench, too.
Yeah, the way he talks, the way, you know, after the game, he's doing his interview, and the guy, the culture, it's just like they carry themselves like they've already won it before and been there.
Yeah, that's what I said. They look like they won a championship.
Yeah.
Well, the Timberwolves got another 60-plus point output from their bench in Game 4. In Game 3, it was enough to win when paired with Anthony Edwards' 30 points. But last night, Ant only scored 16 points on 13 shots and was 1 for 7 from 3. Ant was asked after the game why he and Julius Randle struggled. Paul, did Ant let the Timberwolves down last night?
Yeah, I don't agree with Ant said that he didn't struggle. Yeah, you struggled. Because, for one, me being the number 1 option in the scoring threat that gets the ball anytime I want to get that, a guy who's dynamic and as athletic as he is can get any shot he wants, no matter what the defense. At this point, he's seen at this point in his career, based on the things we've been calling him at the tender age of 23, he's seen every single defense possible. You know, every single defense that's coming at you, you can get a shot off. I was so disappointed, and it was still a close game, even though he only took 1 shot. He took his first shot under a minute. When you look at this, when I look at it, and I say, dang, the bench gave you what? 60? This should have been a game that Minnesota won by 20. When your bench, I played in the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 versus Miami Heat. Our bench gave us 2 points. We lost by 4, something like that. You get 60 points from your bench? Like, all you got to do is have your star. If your star, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be having a conversation like, whoa, Minnesota has the momentum. And now their bench has confidence? Shea did what Anthony should have did last night. He said, from the beginning, I'm going to put pressure on you guys for 48 minutes every second. It was like every second he had the ball, he's putting pressure on the defense. And that was his mindset. He came out with the mindset saying, listen, if we're going to go down, we're going to go down fighting because we just lost by 40. We lost by 40? Nah. I'm the MVP. This is not happening again. And Ed should have been like, nah, not in my house. But what I'm seeing in this series, I'm not seeing that same energy Ant had against the OGs. I'm not seeing that same energy he had against Bron. I'm not seeing that same energy he had against KD and Joker. You know, now he's facing his peers. These is his peers now. And he got to bring that energy and that level back up. He can't show, I mean, it's respect, but you got to be like, you got to get that growl back that I saw. If you want any chance to get back in this series, and if you're a great player that we all say that you are, he'll find a way and won't make excuses. That's it.
Yeah, he let them down. I don't want to hear from my best player that I made the right basketball play.
No.
I want to hear from my best player that you imposed your will on this game. And when you're the only player who plays 12 minutes in the first quarter and you don't take your first shot until there's 1 minute left in the quarter, and that's the only shot that you take, or in the fourth quarter, it takes you 6 shots to score 6 points, and I got 2 guys off the bench scoring more than that. And if he had had a load of assists, if they were trapping him so hard, or he's penetrating and he's drawing so much attention and he's feeding everybody and they're getting a bunch of shots, then he's going to end up with a ton of dimes as a result of that. But he didn't. He had 6 assists and 5 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. There was a lot left on the table. And that's where I just, when Ant says these things, I just feel like, you know what, he doesn't really understand what being the superstar on a championship team is all about. That he just hasn't figured that out yet. He knows how talented he is. He knows how good he can be. But in terms of leading a team and doing the things that psychologically lead your team, I don't think he's got a sense of the power that he has because of the player that he is. And until he gets that, then this is a team that's going to follow his lead, which is they play really young, they play really well at times, they play really erratic at other times. Until he steps into that in full, then they're going to continue to be what we see, which is this team that always feels like it kind of underwhelms us based on the talent that they have.
You know, I don't necessarily like the did Anthony Edwards let the Timberwolves down question, right? I just don't like the way it sounds, because letting down sounds like he packed his bags up and just decided to leave, like he quit on his team, something along those lines. That's why I don't really feel like he let them down.
Did his performance let them down?
I would say, yeah. There you go.
Good question, Joy.
His performance, right?
Let's not make it personal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, his performance,
right,
I would say let him down, because to Paul's point, though, when you are the guy, they ain't going to say nothing to you.
Right.
Take every damn shot. Because I'm going to be a hot dog.
You have the green light, yeah.
I'm going to be the hot dog out there. I'm going to shoot at every chance I get, even if I'm being doubled or they're pinching me, squeezing me. When I get to my spot, they coming and forcing me off of my spot. I now could kick to everybody else. The problem with that, what he said is, in the first half, you only had 2 assists. You didn't have 7 assists in the first half. If you had 7 assists in the first half, then it's justifiable. We could say, okay, I'm all in with you on that one. But when you wind up with 6 assists in a game, and 4 of them is in the second half, and you're telling me you giving up the ball, they get you the ball out your hand, that may be true. Maybe it's a hockey assist in these situations opposed to a straight assist to Paul, and Paul kicks it to somebody else, and I don't get the credit for it. That may be the case. I haven't watched the film. I don't know how it went, and that could be the case in the situation. But I don't care if you are the star, because I done watched hot dogs like Paul. No, seriously, I done watched them. He gonna shoot the green light out of it. I watched Kobe Bryant. You watch Kobe gonna wave everybody. Man, even if I'm missing.
yeah.
So do you think it's that he is maybe being selfless to a fault?
No, you know what? I will say this. OKC had a lot to do with that, because I was watching Lou Dort, and they call him the Dortcher Chamber.
Yep.
That's a code name for defense. Yep. The Dortcher Chamber. And I saw Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
They knew what kind of toothpaste he brushed his teeth with this morning. That's how close they was up on him all night.
Yeah, they were squeezing him for sure.
They knew what kind of lotion he was wearing. They was on him so tight. Like I'm talking about from the time he hit half court, they had a lot to do with that too. When he was off the ball, I'm talking about always touching him, and I think that kind of rattled him a little bit.
No doubt.
You know, that could be intimidating, because I've had guys play me like that. And, it could be a little aggressive, and you don't get used to it. Not to say I didn't get used to it, because that was the style we played, where guys was always aggressive, holding, grabbing, arms distance from you. And I think he didn't get used to that physicality of it. And so it's a mindset.
It didn't come as easy as it did in the last game.
What he has to understand, to win a championship, to get to a championship is hard. Very hard. It's mentally draining and physically draining. And you have to wrap your mind around how tough it's going to be. This is the toughest defenders he's had to play in all of the playoffs. This ain't Luka and LeBron no more. This is some dogs out there. I'm talking about these guys looking for new contracts. These guys don't get the headlines. They don't get the recognition when they win. But these guys are hungry, and they can play, and they smell championship. So I give a lot of credit to the OKC defense, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, even Jalen Williams at times when he's playing them. They're making it tough.
Lou Dort was so aggressive, he fouled out.
I just have a hard time.
Right.
When we talk about Ant Edwards the way that we do and what his capability is, when I look at his physical ability, like, I'll ask the question, why can't he have the game that SGA has? SGA is not built like him. SGA gets trapped and blitzed and double-teamed, but he finds his way to his spots, and And if you're too physical with him, he finds his way to the free throw line. Like, I don't see why Ant can't have all of that. And it's not like SGA has been in the league for years and years beyond what Ant has. That's where I feel as if Ant's game has to evolve, which is the psychological game in terms of leading the team, but also the psychological game and how do I utilize all that I have. Not necessarily just blowing by guys and finishing at the rim or shooting threes, but like, how do I get you on my hip and how do I get to my spot and then force the defense to make a decision, and then I'm either kicking it to somebody for a wide open three or I'm hitting that little mid-range. This is the most damning statistic that I found. SGA, through these playoffs, averages 5.8 field goal attempts from the 10 to 16-foot range. Ant averages 1 a game.
I was going to say that.
That has to become part of his game in order. He doesn't feel like a 3-level scorer to me right now. It's either I'm getting to the rim
or I'm shooting a big three.
Or I'm shooting a 3.
So, before you go, Joy, is he a pure scorer? Ant-Man? You said he doesn't feel like a 3-level scorer, but is he a pure? Because you said Jason Tatum wasn't a pure scorer.
How did Jason Tatum get it?
Because a couple weeks ago,
Celtics been done.
Yeah, but I'm saying I just want to know the definition as I get my. I'm trying to up my basketball, acumen up too, because I don't know a lot about the game. I'm still learning.
You shouldn't be talking about it.
I'm still learning about the game, but since we have the senior NBA analyst on the panel, I would like to know if Ant-Man is a pure scorer, since Jason Tatum's not.
Neither one of them has a reliable mid-range game, so I don't know. I'll leave it to you.
Oh, look, I got him.
No.
I got him.
I can't. Based on what we've seen in these playoffs, can I count on Ant scoring?
Well, that's what I was about to say. I mean, Game 3, not even throughout the playoffs. Let's just look at this series. Game 3, obviously, they had a brilliant game.
Yep.
Blew them out. SGA and it weren't great. It was over in the first quarter. But if you're gonna go up against a team like OKC that's playing the defense that they're playing, and you're going up against the league MVP who's steadily scoring 30+ every night, you have to match that scoring. You can't rely on your bench to do that. And if you do have a performance like that from your bench, you should win the game. To Key's point, this wasn't a blowout. This was a 2-point game.
But he only shot it 13 times.
It's not about him letting them down in his effort. He was aggressive at times. But if you're not going to lead the team in scoring, then you've got to find a way to get whoever it is off the bench or whoever else that's cooking right now to stay in that space. And it just feels like there's these lulls throughout the game that they're not staying at the same intensity as OKC.
You're talking about Minnesota in particular, or
yes.
in general, or Ant in particular?
Also Ant, because Ant sets the tone for Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that's what feels frustrating about. Like, it's not that he had a bad game. It's not about a bad or good game. It's about wins and losses at this point. Blowout or not, they are down 3-1.
Got to shoot 1 to 13 times.
You just have to. Is there any chance that Minnesota comes back in this series, Rick?
I don't see comeback. I
don't call it a comeback.
Can they extend the series another game? Can they push it to 6? I'm going to give them that.
You think they push it to 6?
There's thinking and there's hoping.
You want it to go to 6.
Yes, I want to see.
Basketball.
Actually, I want to see another game, at least another game like I saw last night. I want to see a competitive game. I want to see a game where I feel like Minnesota has an opportunity to win the game. And on top of it, I want to see Ant be a part of that.
Want. It's an interesting word. What is going to happen?
I don't see how they turn the tide at this point.
Okay,
I mean,
so
honestly, for what OKC has done, and they're going to OKC. OKC, I think they're 7-1 at home in these playoffs.
Cook's Key?
Yeah, it's over, though. It's over with. What you going? They lost the first 2 at OKC. Now they're going back to OKC.
It's going to be tough.
They said OKC is 7-1 at home. These folks in Oklahoma going to be going crazy. They're going to have the white out. Everybody going to wear white, and
This is the hard part of it. When I look at what Minnesota did in Game 3, when I look at what they have.
But that's Game 3 at the
We should
crib.
be talking about this in a different way. I think it had less to do with where it was and where they were.
They were down 2-0.
They
And
were
at
like,
home.
we can't lose this game.
Yeah, but they at home. Think about that, though, Rick.
That helps with the role
They're at home down 2-0, so they scrapping and fighting.
They went, but hey.
They was on life support.
Didn't they go into L.A.? They went in.
Yeah, but that ain't the same. Well, that's not the same. We all
It's
know,
not the same team. I agree with that.
Well, we all know that the Lakers is not where we wanted them to be, Rick. So just leave the Lakers alone.
I just can't let go of the fact that the Timberwolves are way better than what they've shown in this series. That's what I can't.
I would agree with that. Is there any chance they come back in this series?
Joy, Key.
If they come back,
No.
I'm going to walk.
No,
Go ahead. Yeah, tell me.
You can walk. You can
All
walk.
right.
You got a better chance
No.
at finding the Malaysian 370 flight.
Okay.
right, no, we're not doing that.
We're not
doing that.
Okay.
Them coming back.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, we gonna move on from that.
You have exactly 4.4% chance.
4.4%
to come
chance.
back. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.